Hello, I'm Kate Davis, and this is Humor in the C-Suite, a show about how leaders use humor to create an extraordinary work culture. My guest this week is Colin Brook. He grew up in a small town outside of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. He then went to the University of Alberta, where he got his degree in mechanical engineering, and then he spent some time in the oil and gas industry. But then he got a job at Wika Instruments, a privately owned German-based company where he has been the president of Canadian operations for over 16 years. We had an incredible conversation about how humor translates between countries and continents and the power that humor has to connect us. He's about bringing people together and he loves being the prankster. We had a great conversation. You guys are really going to enjoy this one. So please welcome Colin Brook. I'm so excited for our conversation today. So, Colin, I thought we'd just start off by you telling everyone who you are, what you do, what company, and what you guys are up to.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Kate. Thanks for having me. I'm excited about it. I'm hoping that there's going to be some laughs here. So let's see. My name is Colin, and I'm from outside of Winnipeg originally. You know, farm boy that then moved to Alberta. And then I went to the University of Alberta and got a degree in mechanical engineering and spent some time in the oil and gas industry before coming back to Edmonton, where I started with a company that was ultimately bought by Wika Instruments, which is the company I work for today. And so I've been here for 25 years, the first 9 years as engineering manager. That was the role that I had when Wika bought us. And then the last 16 years as president of the Canadian operation. And Wika is a German-based company. So my boss is in Germany, privately owned. And so I've had the privilege of, working with our colleagues in Germany for the last 25 years, which are a lot of funny stories, let me tell you, because they see things a different way for sure.
Absolutely. We'll get into that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love that. And what do you guys actually do at Wika?
We manufacture instrumentation. So,
okay.
Yeah, here in Edmonton, plus our manufacturing facility in Oakville, part of the GTA. In Ontario, we're 210 people, and we make pressure gauges, temperature instruments, all things that you need to measure for your home or in oil and gas, petrochemical, food and pharmaceutical.
Amazing. Yeah. Just a little bit of pressure. Nothing big.
There
no worries.
Oh, a little hot under the collar. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And look, when we first started chatting, you really came across as someone who loves what you do, first of all, and obviously who you're doing it with and how many people you're helping or the company is helping, because nothing can really, get built without you guys, or a lot of things can't.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's that chain, that domino reaction. But the fact you're leading with humor, I would love to chat with you about that. Now, I know we always start off with what's your funniest joke, and you were just like, I don't have one. This is so stressful. And it's so funny because most leaders that I've spoken to are like, I have a joke, but it's filthy. It's such a dirty joke, I can't tell it. And you're just like, I just don't have one. So I thought I would tell one on this episode.
Okay, perfect.
Unless you have one that you thought of.
No, I'm so bad. Like, I have to tell everyone I have a fantastic memory, but I can't remember any jokes to save my life. Yeah. So if yours is good, which is like, who knows? I'm going to write it down. And then
okay. Look, it's a one-liner from one of my favorite Canadian comics. His name is Stuart Francis. He's no longer doing comedy, but he started a greeting card company, which is hilarious because he's so funny. But one of his jokes when I was just starting to do comedy it's very simple. Do frisbees appear bigger the closer they get? And then it hit me. That's it. That's the joke. Like,
that's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's a smart joke. Like,
exactly.
But it always stuck with me. I have another friend who came up with a joke about Halifax, where they're like, for a city that was leveled by the Halifax explosion, it's sure hilly, right?
Yeah, true, true.
So anyway,
I like those little one-liners. Those are like dad jokes
they
almost, right?
are,
Super
yeah.
probable good another dad joke, but they're the funniest for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. Oh my gosh. So I love it. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Pressure's off. Woo!
Nice,
So how are
nice.
you using humor in your day-to-day life to lead your teams?
Well, I with a lot more trepidation this year. Or I mean, this
Yeah.
days. I grew up in a thick-skinned family. My kids, I think, are growing up in a thick-skinned family. It was always comedy hour and borderline bullying around all of our kitchen tables, right around supper. To this day, my dad was he was harassing me on Monday, like not that long ago. So while that's all kind of whimsical and fun, and
Yeah.
25 years ago when I started my career, it was even more whimsical and fun. But now it's
Yeah.
it's more difficult and I have to be a bit more careful um, because you don't want to offend anybody,
Yeah.
and you certainly don't want to push people away, and be professional, and all those things that you're supposed to do as a
Yeah.
middle-aged person. You don't act like a teenager all the time. Um, but I do find that humor, I use it as a way to disarm contentious issues. So it's not like you avoid them, and avoid any conflict or any tough conversations, but if they come from a place with a little bit of levity, it seems like you can kind of get everybody to have a level of mutual respect, and it takes a little bit of the emotion, at least the negative emotion, away from it. Um,
Yeah.
so I tend to do that a fair bit, I think, um, and that's pretty successful, I would say. I often say that you have to be like 99% a really good person, so that 1% of the time, if you have to be difficult, you can be difficult, and humor makes you a decent person if you can laugh at things.
I love that. And I love the fact you're saying it disarms people at those times that can be, full of conflict and everything.
Mhm.
That's a great way to put it. Can you, do you find, because you are across the country, are you guys remote, all of you getting together at all or?
Yeah, well, I mean, we get together for events like Christmas parties and things. We
Right.
we do have the Western Canadian operation gets together more often on
Yeah.
our own, and then we get together on our own in Eastern Canada and Ontario. So to get
Okay.
everybody together doesn't happen very often, not national.
Yeah.
So we use Teams a lot for
Yeah.
regions: Calgary, Fort McMurray, Montreal, Quebec City. So
Wow.
we're on Teams a lot, or at least on a
Yeah.
platform. Yeah.
Do you find it really helps build that team morale, like collaboration, when you do use humor?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Especially, I think a virtual platform works really well if you already know each other a little bit,
Yeah,
and then when you use humor in a virtual platform, it can be great if you know each other a little bit. But
right.
things are lost some in translation if you haven't had a chance to meet in person. And so you, Kate, and we haven't had a chance to meet in person. And I think that if we did, our
Yeah,
virtual interaction would even be more comfortable and maybe
absolutely.
more funny and more humorous. It's
I'm
just
sitting
easier.
up straight right now, really straight, really.
Yeah. It definitely comes in. It has its place, and it's more difficult virtually, but still important.
Yeah. And how are you using humor in your leadership style? Because it's not about telling the next best joke. It's really about, as you said, it can disarm, but it can also like didn't you say you were a prankster?
Yeah, practical joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do a new employee orientation with everybody that starts, and it's my way
Yes.
of being able to meet people and put faces to names. And often in different parts of the country, it might be a long time before I actually get to see them in their role. So it affords me a chance to meet them. And in my opening slide, I go through our zero tolerance for harassment, and all this kind of stuff, safety, and then there's a part there that says, we have a zero tolerance for practical jokes. And I always pause because like I wrote that, but then I
Yeah.
wrote breaking that almost all the time. So I'm like, everybody, just so you know, you're starting here. We want to be professional and respectful, but like I joke around a lot. So,
Yeah.
if you want to be in a dark corner, then this is probably not the place for you to work. We're social
Right.
and we
Can you
want to
give
have
us an example of some of the practical jokes you've played?
things like taking, do a print screen of somebody's desktop and then erase all of their icons and then put that print screen as their desktop
Oh
background.
my God, that is
You're,
so mean.
you're clicking around, that's fun. Somebody's birthday, we'll fill their office with like every balloon you can imagine. So then it takes them half a day to, get rid of, dispose of all these balloons.
That's great.
Yeah, we've done fun ones with email where, let's say, for example, I was going to email if Kate Davis was my boss and I was going to send an email, I would send it to a colleague and CC Kate Davis, but change so it doesn't actually go to you, but it looks like it went
Yeah.
to you, and say
Yeah.
like bad things, and then they're
I
freaking
love that.
out.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, we goof
Uh,
around a bit.
Oh, that is so great. A lot of times, the number one thing employees want from their leader is for them to talk like a real person.
Yeah.
And because you seem so down to earth in this conversation, are you able to bring your authentic self to work? Or do you find you still got to play that, role?
No, I think I mean, I'd like to think that some of the feedback that I get from even some of my executive is that what they like about me is what you see is what you get. I wouldn't
Yeah.
be different with you. And I would also say almost to a fault to a certain extent, because,
Right.
I probably could be less teenager sometimes when, when it matters. But I would be the same with you as I am with my buddies or with anybody here or a board meeting.
Right.
I just, I only do things that are fun. And so I intend to have fun no matter what I'm doing. And sometimes I probably could be a little bit more serious, I think.
Yeah. Because the company is based in Germany, do you find their sense of humor is way different?
Oh, geez. It's vastly different. Yeah. I
Let's
mean,
get into it. I love this.
yeah, the German, well, so I don't want to insult anybody that's
No,
from Germany,
no.
right? Because it's just different.
Yeah.
And the German culture, who over 25 years I've gone 4 times a year for 25 years. So
Right.
it's become a professional second home for me, and I love the culture, and I love the
Yeah.
food, and I love the beer. And so I really respect what that country has been able to accomplish. And part of what they've been able to accomplish, they were decimated over a couple of wars, right? And yet
Yeah.
now they continue to be this powerhouse of a nation. And it's their ability to thrive in a conservative but innovative way. And
Yeah.
sometimes no humor is confused there. They just
Yeah.
they take business more serious than Canadians,
Right.
sure.
I know you're trying to be very diplomatic here.
Yeah. Well, so I have a story. Just because
Yeah,
you asked,
please.
I was at a German board meeting. It was our international board
Yeah.
meeting, and it happened that I was there on my birthday. And so this speaks to the humor side of it, I think.
Yeah.
And our owner, did introductions and welcomes everybody, and it was in person in Germany. And then he said, "Oh, and we want to also recognize this is an important day. It's Colin Brook's birthday." And then he turns to me like I'm supposed to address the board. I didn't even know that anybody knew it was my birthday. And so I said, I'm happy to be here, but just so that all of you guys know, this is the worst birthday I have ever had. And I thought it was funny because
Yeah.
it was true. Like hanging out in a board meeting with all of my German
Yeah.
is not a great way to spend, but nobody laughed. So
No.
nobody laughed. So that was the worst birthday I ever had. And my joke was lost in translation.
Yeah, it was lost in translation. It happens. I perform quite a bit in Scandinavia, and a lot of jokes that like kill here do not translate there at all.
Not surprised. I'm not surprised. Yeah.
No, it's really funny. I mean, they have a great sense of humor, but they just don't use the words or the new. It's
Yeah.
just different nuance
Yeah.
to
Well, I
it.
find sarcasm is a tough language to learn
Yes.
in a different language. And when I sit there and say this is the worst birthday I've ever had, it's not even sarcastic, but it kind of is dripping a little bit. And they just
Yeah.
it just kind of goes past another language, and that's not unique to Germans. That's English
No.
language, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions I always ask, have you had any, humor misinterpretations? That's a part of it. And acknowledging that and just saying, you know what, I didn't mean it that way is a
Yeah,
part of it as well.
yeah. Especially if you accidentally offend someone, then that's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Hi, it's Kate. I can't believe you made it halfway through the show. Look, if you or anyone you know would like to be a guest on Humor in the C-Suite, I would love to have you. So email me, kate@katedavis.ca. Are you finding, like with your teams now, the multi-generational part of it different?
Not really, actually.
No.
No, we have a pretty broad demograph here of
Yeah.
ages, and I approach things quite, sort of the same way. And yeah, I haven't found it too much different, really.
We started off this interview by talking about political correctness and how humor has changed. And I'm with you. Like, I come from a generation where we had to have a thick skin, and my mother still, uses that kind of humor. Like, she's British and cutting and, does not hold back. And your feelings really should be just left at the door because
Yeah,
it's not personal. It's just funny to her,
yeah,
and my sister and I don't know how many times if we take her out, she's 81 now, we're just constantly saying, you can't say that anymore. You can't
yeah.
use that word anymore. You can't stop. Like, it's just like, it's definitely tricky, So,
And it's a lot of it is even warranted. Not, I wouldn't say all of it. There's just some society sensitivity that is warranted because
yeah.
kids are cruel and past generations are cruel, and so a lot of it is relevant, and the sensitivity matters, but not all of it.
Yeah.
And so finding where that thick
Line.
blurry line is difficult. And as I get older, I'm more sort of becoming more and more aware of that line of being quite thick, and things are
Yeah.
changing. So yeah, you have to be careful, be respectful.
And within your industry, is it more male heavy than female still,
Uh,
or is
in
it
Alberta,
changed or?
in Alberta, it's oil and gas,
Yeah.
rural communities, and quite, I would say, quite male dominant. Eastern
Yeah.
Canada, less so. It's a
Right.
little bit more high tech and a little bit more liberal. Western Canada is more conservative.
Yeah.
Ontario and Quebec are, food and pharmaceutical, the medical industry. Those are a positive shift to a better, gender neutral type
Equality. Yeah.
quality.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find humor helps with your team collaboration when you're trying to bring everyone together?
Oh, I would think for sure. Yeah. Yeah. When we collaborate, like you said, the plan is to have fun.
Yeah.
That's basically number one objective. We of course need to get done what we plan to do. Um,
Yeah.
but I find it difficult to do that if nobody's having any fun. So
Yeah.
we have a pretty good time, and we pick on each other when it's warranted, and I mean, you know I mean
Yeah.
pick on each other like in a constructive way, but in sometimes
Yeah.
it's funny, but it's also serious.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
um, you know why are you saying the same thing three times and you haven't actually said anything? Statements like
Right.
that it's kind of funny, but at the same time
Yeah.
there's a ring of truth to it. So you know some of the best jokes, even maybe not jokes, but statements, have a ring of truth to them, and
Absolutely.
that's what makes them funny. And so if you can make something constructive and funny at the same time, that's kind of the sweet spot in collaboration for sure.
Absolutely. And I can't even imagine how much your industry and innovation and technology and AI is changing everything for you.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, AI and we're sort of just scratching the surface on AI
Yeah.
and making sure we don't get blindsided. That's our objective now, and we haven't even got to the point where we can really leverage it. We just don't want to be left behind.
I mean, I'm safe. Computers can't tell a good joke yet.
Yeah,
So,
I should have asked Chat GPT or Copilot.
yeah,
What's
don't. They're the worst. It's worse than any dad joke. Don't
oh,
do it. Oh my God. Do you find your humor has changed a lot when you're dealing with family and your kids than when you're dealing at home? Or are you the same sort of prankster?
I think it's the same, but I think the gloves are off a little bit more with my family in the sense that
Yeah.
I we joke around a lot, and man, I have 3 children, so and my beautiful wife, so like
Yeah.
I get back times 4.
How old are they? Are they grown now or?
Yeah, they're grown, but they're at home.
Yeah.
18, 1, and 23.
They don't leave, right? They just come back with more people. It's the worst.
I know. Our grocery bill goes up, and
Yeah.
the population's going up. Yeah, boyfriends and girlfriends are like, what? But it's also fun. So
Yeah.
we pick on each other. It's different in that sense, Kate. That
Yeah.
you don't have to be quite so sensitive, or you don't have to
They
be
know you.
so worried about offending them. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you do, especially if it's maybe a new employee orientation, like when I'm doing and meeting somebody for the first time. The
Yeah.
place for humor is there, but it has to be a little bit more guarded. And so, yeah, at home. But these little munchkins of mine, they pick on me like relentlessly. So they've gotten good at it over the years. When when they were little, we always had these family suppers because I also think conversation is a skill. Not
Yeah.
not everybody can sit and have a chat about random
Yeah.
things. And when our kids were little, we'd ask them how their day was, and in kindergarten it was fine. What did you do? Nothing. Did you have coffee? Yes. And then by about grade 2, it was like, okay, everybody just be quiet for a minute. Like I'm all out of words,
Yeah.
all my words all day at work. I don't have any
Yeah.
more at home, so stop talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Or when they get to the teenage years, and we call them the yep years, where it's
Oh,
like one word answers.
right,
How was your day?
right.
Fine. What did you do? Nothing.
Exactly. So I find it like now when they were little, and then now they're so yappy that I almost miss those quiet teenage years. Like
Yeah. See? Oh
have
my gosh.
clothes to put on.
My husband
Like,
and I keep joking, if they don't move out, we'll move out. So
that's
yeah, well,
good
yeah,
idea.
we'll just leave them in the house. We'll get in a little apartment somewhere. Let's do it.
Leave them the
No,
lot. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. I love
yeah.
it. Do you have any tips that you could give leaders who are starting out? I mean, you're 25 years or more in the game that could help them in terms of, being secure and using levity in the workplace.
Well, I think just to keep that in mind, if you're not a person that is naturally outgoing or not, even consider yourself naturally funny, that doesn't mean that you can't look for levity in every situation. Not everything needs to be taken so seriously. And if you approach even the most complex issues and the most tumultuous topics with a little bit of levity, you come
Yeah.
from a place where you're coming from a positive place rather than regretting it or not looking forward to it all. And so I think that would be my advice is, just don't take things so seriously all the time. Nothing's worth being that angry about or that sad about, especially when it
Yeah.
comes.
I love that. Where's the wisdom? Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom. It's so true though. We, take your work seriously, don't take yourself too seriously and bring
exactly.
that to it. And I think that's wonderful advice, especially for people starting out, because so often when we are new to leadership, we tend to overdo stuff and tend to take ourselves so seriously. And we're afraid because we're so afraid we're going to lose our sense of importance.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. And it
Yeah.
definitely shows security. Have you noticed any benefits in your life from you using levity and humor?
I'd like to think that it's tightened my relationships.
Yeah.
The ones that are closest to me, which is my family. We have the easiest, loosest form of humor, and those are my best relationships. And
Yeah.
then from there with other friends and family, and then my colleagues, we're friends, and we're buddies and pals, because we can laugh about some stuff. And um, I think so. I think that's what I think it really strengthens your level of trust, some vulnerability, and then your relationship is stronger uh, with that type of an approach.
That is so true. It really does build trust and meaningful relationships.
Yeah,
It is hard, when you are working remotely, like, and you don't like, I love knowing, like, Colin, what tea do you drink in the morning? Or do you have coffee? Or what are you
exactly.
having in it? Like, just those little nuances that we miss out on where we're all so separated, or we were for so long. And I love the fact you're pranking new employees. That kills me.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and you just have to know your audience a little bit.
Yeah.
And during COVID, and the sort of the uptick on virtual had its own challenges. It was always easy, like I said, if you knew each other first
Yeah.
in person. But we've done some team events here with wine pairings. So
Yes.
send everybody home with 4 bottles of wine. Um,
Okay, I'm
and
coming to work for you. No.
yeah, and a charcuterie board, and
Stop.
yeah, and we had the wine, the vineyard, the
Yeah.
winemaker come online and pair the charcuterie with the wine that we were having, and they were Canadian wines, so we had Canadian ones do it. We did it twice, once out of BC and then one out
Wow.
of the Niagara region. And
Yeah.
the reason I'm mentioning it is because, well, the mistake we made was we did it on a Thursday, and
Okay.
by the end of
Oh,
these virtual pairings, like a
yeah.
couple of people with their spouses, like they're getting low in the camera, and now they're laying on the floor. No work happened on Friday, and so we laugh to this day. We laugh,
Yeah.
these people. We all got drank too much and stayed home in the safe comfort of our homes, and
Yeah.
and
That's
that was
very
funny.
funny.
That was
Yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Where is
So,
it just feet up in the air? No.
oh, we had, cats going across. It was really fun, both of them, and we should do them on a Friday. That would make the next day more productive, because
Absolutely. Always have your wine pairings on a Friday. That is good advice right there, people.
yeah,
Listening to the podcast, you heard it here first.
that's it.
I always love to end the podcast. What is the funniest thing that's ever happened to you? Do you have a story you can share?
Yeah, well, so we do a carnival every year, on site in Edmonton, and then we replicate it in Oakville. We have all the families and grandchildren, and everybody
Oh,
come for an extended barbecue in the back. And we thought that what would be really fun would be to have Colin in a dunk tank. And so I thought, well, that's great. Like, that's what this organization needs, is to see me in a Speedo in a dunk tank. So let's do that to begin with, and then we're setting up in the back, and the dunk tank arrives, and we fill it with water, and then two of my vice presidents here. I'm kind of in the back setting up the bar, for having a beer, and I look, and a 1-ton ice truck shows up and proceeds to fill the dunk tank with as much ice as would, like, overflow the water that was already in there. And so then I got to spend the next 3 hours being dunked by every grandchild that's connected to this business into this ice bath of a dunk tank. So,
oh,
like, I laugh at it now. It was not funny at the time.
no. Oh my God. Cold plunge is a really in thing right now, but
Oh, geez, not for me. It's not. I'm
not
a
for you.
polar plunge. Yeah. So that was fun.
That's, I
And
love, and you had no idea they were going to fill it with ice.
no, I was otherwise
No.
or something. So yeah. So
I
I
love
like
that.
I like it as a story because that's the level of
Yeah.
comfort. We have a good time.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Great wisdom, great points. It's so important for people to hear and to know that they, can bring humor into leadership, and that it just makes you a better leader, and it makes you more receptive, and it makes your people want to stay, you know?
for sure.
And
Yeah,
and I think that's really, really important. And I love all the stories, and just even the ones, even the jokes that don't hit. I think it's so important to know that that's okay too.
yeah,
And and there are other ways. Pranking. I love the screen things. I might start doing that. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. That
Uh,
one that can end up with somebody smashing computers, though. They
oh
get so
god,
frustrated.
it's
Why
like,
can't
where
I
did it go?
this icon? I can't click.
Oh my gosh, so
Yeah.
good. Anyway, thank you so much for being a guest on Humor in the C-Suite.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Kate. And it's a great topic. And you're the only one that I know has this as a topic, and it brings it to the public. So I love it, and it speaks right to me. So thank you very much for having me.